I recently went to Universal Studios and Epic in Orlando, and I wanted to make a video on the accessibility for a power chair. I brought my power chair to the parks for 2 days, and this is how many rides I was able to ride. At Universal Studios, 1. At Islands of Adventure, 0. At Epic, 0. So the only ride I was able to ride was the train that connects you from Hogsmeade to Diagon Alley. It was nice to be able to ride that. The Harry Potter train is really cool. The experience was nice and it's super accessible. But yes, I was only able to ride 1 ride in my power chair from all 3 parks. But I am an optimist, so I made a pro-con list and I want to share those with you guys. And there's surprisingly a lot of pros here. So the first pro is going to be the Attractions Assistance Pass. You have to get approved by the access card people online and also Universal. So make sure you get both of those things done before you get to the park. To go into the app, it'll tell you how to use it in the app. For this video, I'm just gonna show you when you click on eligible attractions, it'll show you the ride closest to you, tell you not only if you can ride the ride, but what kind of restrictions they have. And then you can click on make an AAP return time. It would then give you a barcode with a return time where you could go back to the ride, and at that time, an employee can scan the barcode, and then you and your entire party can get front loaded onto the ride. Some more pros being the lack of congestion getting in and out of the park. Pull up, if you have a handicap placard, you get to park in a completely separate line. So you're able to see all of those handicap spaces first. And you'll typically be able to park right next to the entrance. We actually did 2 days in a row, and we stayed in a resort right off site. And the shuttles to and from were really accessible, and the bus drivers knew exactly how to secure my power chair. There's a handicap waiting line completely separate for the shuttles so that the wheelchairs can be front loaded on and off the shuttles. We did run into a situation where one of the shuttles was down and they were using a backup Greyhound in its place, and that Greyhound could not load me in the power chair. So we had an extended wait period at one morning, but that's obviously an externality. So my final pro here would be that if you're in a manual chair, the parks are great. I did go back in my manual, and I'm gonna make a part 2 video about that experience, but have standard wheelchairs at every ride that a wheelchair can ride. That wheelchair has to stay with the ride. And so if you transfer from your chair into that chair, you'll have to transfer back into your chair right when you get off the ride, and then do that again for every other ride you want to ride. It seemed like the employees really understood what to do in my case. It felt like a lot of the times I was the first power chair user they've maybe experienced, and so I think maybe on Universal side they need to do some training on how to, if they are going to oversee, X amount of transfers a day, they need to maybe see what a safe one looks like, or make sure all of their standard wheelchairs have completely functional parts. But what do I know? Stay tuned for part 2 where I talk about my experience in a manual chair. And if there's any questions that I can answer about a potential trip that you want to take to Universal or Epic, leave them in the comments below.